Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. We're thrilled to have you join us for a focused look at a company that's pretty central to the housing market right now. Today, we're zeroing in on Lennar and their upcoming Q3 2025 earnings report. So for anyone tracking the home building sector or just curious about what moves a major stock like this, this discussion is definitely for you. Before we jump into the numbers, though, quick favor, if you're finding value in these discussions, please hit that subscribe button, like this content, and maybe leave a comment. And hey, if there's a specific company you'd like us to look into next time, let us know in those comments below. Okay, setting the stage. Lennar, a major player in home building, is about to release its Q3 2025 results. This feels like a pretty crucial moment, especially with all the talk about mortgage rates and, well, housing affordability. We're going to unpack all the expectations, Lennar's past performance, and, the potential scenarios for this pivotal earnings call.
That's right. Lennar often acts as a kind of bellwether for the broader housing market. Understanding their performance gives invaluable insights, not just into the company itself, but really into the economic forces shaping home ownership right now.
Okay, let's unpack this. First things first. When is Lennar actually expected to report? And what are the analysts projecting for this Q3 2025?
Well, the official Q3 2025 earnings release date, it hasn't been officially announced just yet, but historically, their results tend to come out pre-market, usually around 6:00, maybe 7:00 a.m. Eastern Time. And this report covers their fiscal Q3, so the quarter that ended August 31st, 2025, conference call details. You'll typically find those on their investor relations page and in the press releases.
Got it. So pre-market sometime soon, probably. What about those analyst numbers? What's the consensus?
Okay, looking at the FactSet consensus data via Nasdaq, for revenue in Q3 2025, they're projecting $8.21 billion. Now, what's interesting here is that would actually be a dip, about 4.1% year over year.
Sure.
But compared to the last quarter, Q2, it's expected to be pretty much flat, maybe up just 0.2%.
So down from last year, but holding steady from Q2. What about earnings?
Right. For EPS, the GAAP number, they're projecting $3.011. That's expected to be down more significantly, 10.7% year over year, and also down slightly, 1.6% sequentially from Q2.
Okay, so a bigger drop expected on the earnings side.
Exactly. And there's also this whisper number floating around.
Oh, yes, the unofficial expectation.
Right. It's basically the street sentiment, maybe what some investors are hoping for. That number, sourced via whispernumber.com, is actually a bit higher at $3.09.
$3.09, so a little bit of hope for a slight beat compared to the official $3.01 consensus.
Precisely. It suggests some folks might be leaning slightly more optimistic than the formal analyst average.
So the consensus points to a dip year over year for both top and bottom lines. But what did Lennar themselves say last quarter? What was their outlook for Q3?
Well, looking back at their Q2 2025 earnings release, management definitely flagged some challenges. They guided for deliveries between 20,200 and 20,400 homes.
Okay.
For gross margin on the home building side, they projected 21.5% to 22.0%. And they expected the average sales price, or ASP, to be flat to maybe slightly up sequentially compared to Q2.
Interesting. Did they give specific revenue or EPS targets, though?
No, crucially, they didn't. They held back on giving specific dollar figures for revenue or EPS, and they explicitly mentioned persisting affordability headwinds as a key concern.
Right, that phrase again, affordability headwinds.
Yeah, that really connects their internal view directly to the bigger picture we're all seeing, the higher rates, the affordability crunch.
It suggests they were definitely aware of these challenges heading into the quarter. Makes sense.
Absolutely. Now let's look at how Lennar has actually performed against expectations recently. History isn't everything, but it can offer some clues.
Yeah, good idea. Let's look in the rearview mirror. How have they done over the last, say, 4 quarters? Any big surprises, beats, or misses?
It's actually been a bit of a mixed bag. Looking at data from FactSet again, their most recent quarter, Q2 of 25, was a miss. EPS came in at $1.90, which was a pretty significant 15% below the consensus.
Ouch, 15%.
Yeah. And revenue was $8.17 billion, also about 1% below what analysts expected.
Okay, so Q2 was a clear miss. How did the stock react? That's always the interesting part.
It reacted negatively, as you might expect with that kind of miss. According to TradingView data, the stock dropped 6.7% on the first day after the announcement.
Wow.
And it stayed down, finishing the week about 5.2% lower.
So a definite negative reaction to that Q2 miss. What about before that? Q1.
Q1 of 25 was better. They actually beat expectations. EPS was $2.63. That was a 2% beat. And revenue came in at $7.98 billion, a slight beat of about 0.5%.
And the stock reaction?
Positive.
Positive, yeah, but maybe more muted. It was up 2.2% on day one and finished the week up about 1.8%. So a positive response to the beat.
Okay. How about Q4 of 24?
Q4 24 was actually a slight miss again. EPS was $3.20, just 0.5% below consensus, and revenue was $9.19 billion, about 1.2% below expectations.
So a small miss. How did the market take that one?
Interestingly, the reaction was pretty minimal. The stock dipped just 0.9% on day one, and it actually recovered to finish that week up 1.0%.
Huh. So sometimes a small miss doesn't hurt too much. Maybe it was expected.
Could be, or maybe the guidance or commentary was reassuring. Context always matters.
Right. And the last one, Q3 24.
Q3 24 was a solid beat. EPS came in at $3.37, a nice 7% beat. Revenue was $8.35 billion, also a beat by about 2%.
And the stock reaction there? Positive again.
Definitely positive, up 3.6% on day one, and it carried through the week, finishing up 5.4%.
So it really is a mixed track record. Big misses hurt, beats help, but sometimes the reaction isn't quite what you'd predict.
Exactly. Which makes looking at the trend and estimates leading up to this report even more interesting.
Right. What have analysts been doing with their numbers for this upcoming Q3 lately? Are they getting more optimistic or pessimistic?
Well, the trend has been consistently negative. Looking at the estimate revisions, again from FactSet, for EPS, the estimates have been revised down by 2.2% just in the last week.
Okay.
Down 5.8% over the last month, and down 8.9% over the last 3 months.
Wow. Quite a steady downward trend for earnings estimates. What about revenue?
Similar story. Revenue estimates are down 0.9% in the last week, 2.6% over the last month, and 4.5% over the last 3 months.
So analysts seem to be getting increasingly cautious as we get closer to the report date.
That's what it looks like. This consistent negative drift suggests they're factoring in those ongoing challenges, those affordability headwinds we talked about.
That makes sense. Okay, let's go under the hood a bit. Beyond the headline EPS and revenue, what were some key operational metrics from Lennar's last report, Q2, that give us a better sense of their actual business health?
Good question. In Q2, their home building gross margins stood at 21.7%.
21.7%.
Their overall operating margin was 11.1%. Deliveries were 19,840 homes. That was actually up 2% year over year.
So they delivered more homes.
They did. But the average sales price was $410,800, and that was down 3% year over year.
So delivering more homes, but at a lower average price. That trade-off again.
Exactly. It suggests they might be using incentives or focusing on slightly lower priced homes to maintain that volume. And inventories were up slightly, 1% sequentially, to $9.64 billion.
Got it. And how does this Q3 period usually look for Lennar? Is it typically a strong quarter? Seasonality matters here, right?
It does, and yes, Lennar's fiscal Q3 is typically a high-volume quarter for them. Just for context, if you look back at Q3 of 2024, they delivered over 20,000 homes, 20,065 to be precise, and their gross margin back then was stronger at 23.1%.
Okay, so 23.1% margin in Q3 last year versus the 21.7% they just posted in Q2 this year, and guidance for Q3 around 21.5% to 22.0%. That comparison is important.
Very important. It means they're being compared against a historically strong period, which sets a relatively high bar for this upcoming report.
Makes sense. Now, shifting outside the company's own numbers, what else was happening during this past quarter? Any big company news or major shifts in the housing market?
Yeah, a few things to note. On the company side, there was a significant leadership change. Fred Rothman, their chief operating officer, resigned effective July 30th.
A COO resigning. That's usually notable.
It is. The market will likely be looking for commentary on that transition and any potential shifts in strategy or operations. On a more positive note, maybe, they announced an expansion into new Midwest markets back in August.
Oh, interesting. Expanding their footprint.
Right. Suggests some strategic growth initiatives are still underway. No major lawsuits or big M&A activity reported during the quarter, though.
Okay. And what about the broader market, the winds they were sailing into, so to speak?
Well, those affordability headwinds were definitely blowing. Mortgage rates stayed stubbornly high, hovering near 6.8% throughout the quarter, according to Freddie Mac.
Still near 7%, basically.
Yeah.
That continues to bite.
Absolutely. And it showed up in the broader data. U.S. housing starts for July and August, based on Census Bureau data, were trending down about 4% year over year.
So fewer new homes being started across the country. A clear sign of a slowdown.
It points to a challenging environment for all home builders, not just Lennar.
And how are analysts reacting to all this news flow recently? Any notable calls?
It's actually been a bit of a split decision lately. You had Goldman Sachs downgrade Lennar to neutral just on September 2nd, citing demand concerns.
Okay, a downgrade from a major firm.
But then, just a week later, on September 9th, BTI reiterated their buy rating, and they highlighted Lennar's efficiency gains.
Huh. So conflicting views even among the analysts watching closely. Some worried about demand, others focusing on Lennar's execution.
Exactly. It really highlights the uncertainty and the different ways you can weigh the various factors right now.
It sounds like a really mixed bag. Leadership changes, expansion plans, but persistent rate hikes, slowing starch, and divided analysts. So given all that, how is the market positioning itself? What are the technicals and options market telling us?
Well, the stock price itself reflects some of that caution. Lennar's stock is down about 9% over the past month.
Okay, underperforming lately.
Yeah, and it's currently trading below its 100-day simple moving average, which sits around $137. Key support levels technicians are watching are around $132 and then down near $127. Resistance is up around $143.
All right. What about volatility? Is the market expecting a big move?
It really is. The implied volatility for the options expiring this week is quite high, 49%.
49% IV. What does that mean in context?
It puts it in the 71st percentile of its historical range.
Clark.
So, compared to normal, options are pricing in a much bigger potential swing than usual. It signals significant uncertainty.
And can we quantify that expected swing?
Yes. Based on the price of the at-the-money straddle, which is basically a bet on volatility, the market is anticipating a potential move about plus or minus 6.2% this week.
Plus or minus 6.2%.
Which translates to roughly $8.40 on the current stock price. So yeah, the options market is braced for a substantial move post-earnings.
Okay, a significant expected move baked in. So let's try and put it all together. What are the potential scenarios we should be watching for when these earnings actually drop?
Based on all this, we can sketch out, say, 3 potential paths. First, the bullish case. Let's give this maybe a 25% probability.
Okay, the optimistic view. What would that look like?
This would likely involve a surprise to the upside, maybe faster than expected improvement in that gross margin figure we talked about, perhaps better average sales prices than feared. Or maybe they give really strong guidance for Q4 deliveries or offer positive commentary on first-time buyer demand holding up.
And the stock reaction in that case?
You could potentially see a move of, say, positive 8% to positive 12%. This might happen if revenue came in around $8.4 to $8.6 billion and EPS was maybe $3 to $20.30, clearly beating that consensus and the whisper number.
Got it. So better margins or strong forward look? What's the most likely scenario, the base case?
Right, the base case. We'd put this around a 55% probability. This is where results basically land in line with the current consensus and recent trends, acknowledging the challenges, but no major negative surprises. Macro conditions remain tough but stable. In this scenario, the stock move would likely be within that range. The options market is pricing in maybe plus or minus 6%.
Okay.
This would probably correspond to revenue around $8.1 to $8.3 billion and EPS of 2.95 to 3.05, right around that consensus mark, essentially meeting lowered expectations.
And the downside, the bearish case?
The bearish case, let's say a 20% probability. Here, Lennar might miss expectations on deliveries or, critically, on that growth margin, maybe higher cancellations, or they had to use much heavier incentives than anticipated.
What else would fit this scenario?
A cut to Q4 margin guidance would be a big negative signal, or any commentary suggesting demand is softening even further.
And the potential stock impact?
You could see a more significant drop, perhaps negative 8% to negative 13%. This might correspond to revenue slipping below $8.1 billion, maybe $7.9 to $8.1 billion, and EPS falling short, perhaps $2.75 to $2.90.
Okay, those are clear potential outcomes. Given those possibilities, if you had to pick one single metric for our listeners to laser focus on when the report comes out, what would it be?
For me, it's got to be that home building gross margin. It's just so sensitive right now. It tells you so much about their pricing power versus costs and incentives. A positive surprise there, beating that 21.5, 22% guidance, could really lift sentiment and earnings.
That makes sense. Margin is key in this environment. Anything else close behind?
I'd also watch net new orders very closely. It's the pulse of real-time demand. If orders are holding up despite the rates, that's a strong sign.
Good call. So overall, summing up your leaning, cautious.
Yeah, I'd say the overall leaning is neutral to cautious. The negative estimate revisions, the COO change, the tough macro backdrop, it all points to a potentially softer setup. Upside really seems to hinge on a margin surprise.
And your confidence level in that assessment?
I'd put it at about a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
The data paints a fairly clear picture of the challenges, but there are still moving parts, the macro, the internal execution, and sector volatility is just high right now. And just a quick note on trading with that high implied volatility and the big expected move, there's definitely gap risk. Careful position sizing and maybe tight stops are crucial if you're thinking of playing the earnings event itself.
Absolutely critical advice.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, as an informed observer or maybe a potential investor? We've clearly seen Lennar is navigating a really complex, tricky housing market. Analysts are divided. Key metrics like margin are under the microscope.
Yeah, and it brings up that big question. Can Lennar's strategies, their operational focus, their market expansion, can that be enough to offset these really significant headwinds like high mortgage rates and slowing housing starts? This Q3 report is going to give us a much clearer answer on how well they're managing that balancing act between selling homes and making a decent profit on each one.
Exactly. And the market's reaction, how the stock trades after the numbers are out, that could tell us a lot. Not just about Lennar, but about the broader feeling towards the whole home building sector. It's definitely a fascinating time to be watching these developments unfold. We really hope this discussion has given you a clear picture of what to watch for with Lennar's upcoming earnings. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop us a comment, especially if there's another company you want us to look into. Until next time, stay informed.